Charlie Kirk's tragedy has turned into a public feud between one of America's most controversial commentators and a grieving pastor. Yes, you heard that right. While the family is preparing to bury their son, husband, and friend, Candace is online attacking the man who pastored Charlie for years. Not long ago, Pastor Rob McCoy, Charlie Kirk's own pastor and co-founder of Turning Point Faith, issued a heartfelt rebuke to Candace Owens, urging her to stop pushing wild claims and instead honor Charlie's life with respect. But Candace just fired back. And let me tell you, her response was anything but quiet. In fact, she went straight for the pastor, questioning his honesty, his silence, and even suggesting a global conspiracy surrounding Charlie's assassination. And just when you thought the feud couldn't get any messier, Pastor McCoy released another statement, doubling down, but this time in a very different tone. This is the back and forth no one expected. And it's leaving Christians across America asking, who's right and who's gone too far? If you missed my earlier video, here's the backdrop. Pastor Rob McCoy posted this statement after Candace Owens began speculating publicly about Charlie's death and even hinting at shadowy forces behind it. His words were direct but compassionate. Charlie never entertained gossip about Candace, and I only wish at this tragic time she would be the friend to Charlie that he was to her. A friend loves at all times. Proverbs 17:17. The message was clear. Stop the speculation, stop the noise, and honor Charlie's memory with the dignity he deserves. But Candace? She wasn't having it. Candace dismissed Rob's statement as nonsense, accused him of silence when Charlie was supposedly mistreated, and went further, implying a federal-level conspiracy behind Charlie's assassination.
Lastly, I want to say to this new flex operation mocking pastor, regarding which, by the way, the first time they went after Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, a source told me, and I would love to get this confirmed, I'm going to find this out, that $150 million was spent on that, and it came from Bibi Netanyahu. I would like to figure out if that's true. But anyways, obviously investigating this, and I'm not going to let it go, okay? You're not going to emotionally use some jujitsu, and I'm referring here to Roy or Rob McCoy, who says, I'm Charlie's pastor, and here's the truth, or whatever it is, to look the other way right now, okay? You're not going to tell me that I have to feel too bad to investigate who shot my friend in front of my face. So stop the nonsense. This is what Charlie's pastor passed around to all of the people that were intimidating Charlie leading up to his death. It's funny that Charlie's pastor couldn't find his voice when Bibi Netanyahu was lying about Charlie. Here's pastor. You know what he's saying are lies. No, he didn't find his voice saying anything about Bibi Netanyahu. Candace investigating things? Yeah, that's got to stop. Here's what he wrote, okay? What's his name? Rob McCoy. He wrote, Charlie Kirk was my friend and I was his pastor. I want to simply say this regarding Candace Owens. Charlie Kirk was a friend to Candace and never publicly spoke poorly of her, though he disagreed with her. He never operated nor entertained gossip or innuendo concerning Candace. My only comment I offer regarding Candace is this. I only wish at this tragic time of mourning, she would be the friend to Charlie Kirk that he was to her. He would never have treated Candace or her family in such a way had, God forbid, this tragedy been hers. A friend loves at all times, and he drops a biblical proverb. Now, let me say this, okay? I hope that Charlie would have been the sort of friend that I'm being. Okay, he would have never. Why? Why wouldn't Charlie Kirk have investigated if I had been killed and we were being so obviously lied to? I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I think Charlie was a real friend and he would not have dropped it. He would not have let it go. Least of all, because he was being emotionally manipulated by a guy who curiously kept his mouth shut when Bibi lied. You knew, if you were really his close friend and pastor, how he was feeling about Bibi Netanyahu. You knew, if you were his close friend and pastor, exactly the names of everybody who was intimidating him and how poorly they are misrepresenting the things that he believed. So why don't you focus on being more honest as a pastor and giving as much information as you can possibly provide so that we can continue this investigation? If you can't do this, I'm going to have to ask for your silence, okay? Be quiet.
Did you catch that? Candace Owens just told Charlie Kirk's pastor, the man standing with the family right now, to be quiet. And this isn't a random internet squabble. This is happening on the eve of Charlie's funeral. The family hasn't even laid him to rest, and instead of comfort, what they're getting is more chaos. Candace is positioning herself as the detective, the investigator, the one who will uncover the conspiracy that the FBI, Charlie's team, and even his own church supposedly can't. But the cost of that obsession? It's spilling into the church and into the family's grief. Her tone, fierce, defiant. She framed herself as the real friend, saying Charlie would have investigated her death if the roles were reversed. And with those words, Candace turned what began as a pastor's plea into a full-blown showdown. But Pastor Rob wasn't finished. Within hours, Pastor McCoy returned to Instagram with a very different kind of statement. No anger, no direct rebuttals. Instead, he anchored his words in Scripture, quoting from Ecclesiastes. He wrote, Ecclesiastes, everything has a time for everything. There was a season, a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. Everybody wants me to comment on what Charlie's friend Candace has said and what Charlie's friend Tucker has said. So, this is what I will say. I will be happy to share what I know about the issues being raised. However, not now. It is not the time nor the season. We as Christians are commanded to weep with those who weep. May we all make these next few days solemn, selfless, and respectful, and not add anything to his family's sadness until they've had the chance to bury him. When I was a mayor, pro tem of Thousand Oaks, California, our city suffered a mass shooting of 12 of our young people by a gunman in a country western dance hall. Immediately following the shooting, organizations across the country descended upon our city to profit from our grief. We shut them down in order to allow all 12 families in an entire city to grieve and say goodbye. After they were all lovingly and tenderly buried, we immediately engaged all concerns and controversies. I am hoping and asking that we do this for Charlie's family. Blessings, Pastor Rob McCoy. So here we are. What a contrast. On one side, Candace Owens, determined to investigate and expose what she believes is a conspiracy, even if it means calling out Charlie's own pastor. On the other hand, McCoy isn't fighting. He isn't throwing shade. He's doing what a pastor does, calling for dignity, calling for reverence, and calling for silence until the family has the chance to say goodbye. And yet, Candace interprets that as dishonesty, as manipulation, as a weakness. But let's be real. Does demanding a grieving pastor to be quiet look like the fruit of the Spirit? Or does it look like someone crashing out in public grief, confusion, and pride? This is where the Bible speaks so clearly. Isaiah 8:12 says, "Do not call conspiracy everything these people call a conspiracy. Do not fear what they fear. The Lord Almighty is the one you are to regard as holy." McCoy is urging calm. Owens is fueling chaos. Two very different spirits are on display. And caught in the middle? Charlie's grieving family and a Christian community now divided over how his legacy should be handled. Was Candace right to press so hard, so soon? Or was Pastor Rob right to demand silence until after the funeral? I want to hear from you, the anointed ones watching this right now. Do you believe Candace Owens is being a true friend by demanding answers? Or is Pastor Rob right, that this is the time to grieve, not investigate? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading every single one. And if you believe Charlie's legacy deserves dignity, share this video so truth spreads further than speculation. Subscribe for more updates, because this back and forth is far from over. And trust me, the next chapter is coming soon.